Hi guys, and welcome back to this apocalyptic episode of our sales series. Today we are going to look at some sales from both regions, so there should be something for everyone here. With that in mind, we do wish you all well and hope you're all okay. Let's keep the positive vibes in the comments down below. If you enjoy the channel, then consider sticking around. Let's get into the video. First up then, we have a game called Blazing Beaks. Now this is a top-down roguelike that has an interesting twist. Most of the pickups you'll collect throughout your experience are, quite frankly, terrible, but if you can keep a hold of them without dying because they seriously damage your character, and then reach the shop at the end of a floor, you'll be able to trade them all in and use this to gain yourself loads of genuinely decent upgrades. Now, I didn't realize this when I used to play the game when it first came out, and it was only when someone mentioned it to me, and it's so much more fun when you've got that risk-reward mechanic. You can play 1 to 2 players co-op, or you can play 1 to 4 players competitively. It's a really nice game and, well, worth checking out. Next up then, we've got City Skyline, which is one of a very few number of its type on the Nintendo Switch. This is a city builder, whereby you can control every aspect of the city, the power supply, the different types of buildings within an area, as well as making sure that everyone has access to all of the amenities that they might need. Now, what I will say is that performance isn't the best on this, especially in comparison to something like the PC version. But if it's all we've got, well, that's probably what you're going to have to go with. And if you're keen for a game of this type, then do check out Glenn's review. We'll make sure there's a link to that down in the description. It's still, in my opinion, a fun title, despite a few slowdowns. Next up then, we've got Sheltered. What an appropriate title. This plays out in a world where an apocalypse has taken place and you have to live underground in a bunker, isolated from society, which is where I might be very shortly. It's a good game, I really enjoyed it. You design and build and choose your own family and then have to send them out on missions. These can be really risky. You can also train up your family from within the shelter, and I found that I ended up with my 2 children being like absolute samurais and the adults being taken care of by the kids. It was very Lord of the Flies. I enjoyed it a lot. This is a good game and it's currently on sale. And then there's Warhammer 40,000 Space Hulk, which is a turn-based strategy title which has an isometric 3D view from above. It's another game that I reviewed on the channel and I really enjoyed it. The links will be down below. What I liked was that despite the lack of an XCOM on the Switch, I've been looking for something that kind of fills that spot, and quite honestly this wasn't the game I was looking for, but it kind of captivated me in a different way. It has a random card-based mechanic, but you can also purchase new cards for your deck so that you take those into the different scenarios. There's a campaign here that consists of a few different chapters, and there's also a few other modes thrown in. Now, originally it was a mobile title, and back on mobile it was terrible. It was just full of all kinds of rubbish that no one wants. But the Switch version is very good. It takes all of that out and replaces it with, well, real gameplay. I think you might like this one. Next up then, we've got Redeemer Enhanced Edition from Koch Media. Now, while I really enjoyed the title, like it is really a great deal of fun, it's brutal at times, top down, beat 'em up, come shooter, the performance just wasn't great, and despite a few comments saying, oh, it's okay For me, 20 to 30 frames per second, and it was sometimes dipping into the mid to low teens, isn't good enough. Now since then, I know there's been a patch, at least one, maybe two, and performance looks to me to be a little bit better. You can play through on your own, or you can play split screen couch co-op. It's certainly not the most challenging title. Think maybe something like Doom in terms of the amount of strategy you're going to need to overcome it. You can literally just blast through, but there is also an element of stealth. You can do stealth takedowns from behind characters, and if you're after a bit of mindless action, then this could be the game for you. Next up, we've got Anodyne. If you're not sure what Anodyne was, they were basing it on traditional Zelda, but imagine if, like, I don't know, Zelda got crossed with Donnie Darko. That's as close as I can describe this. It's a very strange game with weird characters and a melancholic atmosphere that carries through the whole thing, and to be honest, that's why I loved it. We do have another review of this one on the channel, so again, if you want to know a little bit more, then go and check that out. But it scored well, and I would say at this price, this is quite essential. It's very good, especially if you like this genre. Definitely suitable for kids, to Amnesia collection, which definitely isn't. This is 60% off at the moment, taking it down to a measly $11.99, which is a bargain. You're getting the entire collection of games here, which Glenn recently reviewed. Again, all the links will be down in the description if you want a more in-depth look. But this horror game, while a little dated in some ways, has an incredibly melancholic and imposing atmosphere, with strange sounds coming out of the speakers at all times, and just a very unnerving game to play. If you're into this sort of thing, which I'm definitely not, then this is one to consider. If you've not heard of SuperHot, it was initially a VR game. In fact, I think it's on PSVR and other VR platforms, and you can kind of see why. Whenever you move as the character, then the entire world moves, and there's a real puzzle element to it. Now, I reviewed this and I quite enjoyed it, but unfortunately for me, I just didn't really click with playing this in first person nearly as much as the VR experience. But having said that, it is still a very enjoyable game. And now that it's on sale, I can definitely recommend picking it up. It's very cool. There's definitely a Matrix feeling to it, and it's probably one of the most innovative shooters that I've seen in recent years. I'm going to throw the Trine Series in next. I think every single one of them is currently on sale, and they range from 70% off, which is a huge drop. You can pick up the first game, I would suggest obviously starting at the beginning, for as little as $4.49. And if you're unsure with how they work, you can have the 4 characters playable in co-op locally, or you can control and switch between them on your own. There's a puzzle platforming element here, but for me it's those beautiful visuals which sell the world to me. And having recently reviewed, I believe, the 4th game in the series, I was really impressed with how they came back to form, because it went a little bit wonky in the middle there, despite them still being good games overall. Have a look and see if you want to check these ones out. Here's my pick of the week then. It's my gold standard game, and that is Children of Morta. You take on the role of the Bergson family as they're battling against a corrupting evil. Now, while that might all sound so cliche, just look at that beautiful artwork. And the way that story is told in small snippets between each run, because this is a roguelike, top-down, almost Diablo-esque action RPG, is really very clever. Personally for me, this is one of the best indie games I played last year, and perhaps one of the best games on the Switch. I believe there's more content coming, as it's not the biggest game ever. I've probably clocked in about maybe 20 or 30 hours, but it's exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. I really love this one. If you haven't considered it, then do so. Okay, so there we have it. We're coming up. We're going to Animal Crossing week, and I'm sure many of you are saving your money for that one. But with the way things are in the world at the moment, we might be getting an awful lot of time to sit indoors and play games. From Glenn and I, we wish you all the best. We hope you are very healthy and well. We will still be here delivering you content that hopefully is relaxing and enjoyable. And a big thanks to our patrons who support us each and every month. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!